Many of the problems that the UK encounters are shared by other wealthy countries. Our population is aging, we are less physically active, the economy is weak, there is a shortage of new homes, and many schools require urgent repairs. The NHS is also under stress. Extreme weather and climate change effects have a big impact on how we live our daily lives. In order to minimize our carbon emissions and lower people's energy costs, we need to convert our houses, offices, hospitals, and retail spaces at a rate of 1%. Our homes, businesses, hospitals, and retail spaces are just a few of the facilities that must be modified every minute if we are to meet the 2020 targets. Undoubtedly, the government will make tackling these issues a top priority. However, by focusing on architecture and the built environment, or the areas between buildings, we can aid in the long-term improvement of the places where people live, work, and play, while also assisting in the solution of today's pressing issues, encouraging higher growth, and saving public money. We describe these challenges in this video from a different angle. This video aims to improve decision-makers' comprehension of the design, planning, and impact of places on daily life. The government must lay out a long-term vision for places that will identify significant infrastructure, significant housing developments, aspirations for improving quality of life, and long-term sustainability. The government must lay forth a long-term plan for the region that identifies important infrastructure projects, significant housing developments, goals to raise the standard of living, and long-term sustainability. The government may incorporate strands of significant evidence and long-term strategic decision-making by creating a national spatial strategy in order to connect housing expansion with other areas of nationally significant infrastructure projects, and involve local leaders, preferably at the city-region level. Along with the national spatial strategy, an architectural policy should be created to outline a long-term vision for great places that is connected to economic strategy, and to detail how every level of government can advance this agenda to offer well-designed communities for everybody. In order to give autonomous city areas access to long-term sustainable finance, the future government should go above and beyond municipal agreements. In our opinion, improving housing quality is as important to increasing supply. The quality of new dwellings in the UK, which has the lowest supply in Western Europe, has disappointed people. The administration must give local governments the power to resume construction in order to raise the caliber and number of newly constructed homes and promote public support for new development. We provide a set of proposals, spanning from financial tactics to investments in new housing patterns, to build economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable homes and communities. Any government's fundamental duty is to ensure that there are enough places in quality schools. A child's physical and mental health have a big impact on their academic career. Children's ability to focus at school depends on a variety of factors, including physical activity, a balanced diet, and support for social and emotional welfare. Nevertheless, the way that schools are set up falls short of their potential. If we do not do it right, we will pay for our lack of foresight for a very long time. The government's current scheme for building schools is simply too inexpensive. These designs are anticipated to have worse outcomes for students and teachers, as well as higher maintenance costs. We demonstrate how a modest increase in capital funding for schools will benefit coming generations. The built environment is crucial in promoting healthy lives as a way of life for everyone, from young children to the elderly. REBA defines the role of government and local governments in promoting healthy lives, by outlining action plans for healthy infrastructure and sound principles for new developments to encourage active mobility. We also take into account the social, economic, and political effects of the growing number of people aged 60 and over when planning and building towns and communities to accommodate aging residents. The performance of our homes and buildings has become a government priority due to rising energy costs, worries about fuel poverty, energy security, and climate change. If we want to reduce our carbon emissions, we have a big problem because so many of our homes, workplaces, and public buildings leak energy, which is expensive and bad for the environment. To address this issue, ways are being considered to better insulate both household and non-domestic structures. The effects of climate change are commonly acknowledged to include flooding, hotter temperatures, drought, and rising food and fuel prices. Through mitigation and adaptation, we must strengthen our ability to respond to flooding. Based on the effects flooding has had in some areas of England, policy recommendations to build a more resilient country range from simple changes to home design to re-examining how cities are built. In England, enthusiasm for planning is at an all-time low. Local planning authorities have had to deal with ongoing change and diminishing resources despite being frequently accused of being growth barriers. Thus, the public is now less confident in planning's capacity to direct future development for the common good and take into account regional objectives. Planning should be a forward-looking, creative, and open process that promotes the development of exceptional architecture and fantastic sites for people to live, work, and play. However, more often than not, it has become a risk-averse, tick-the-box process focused on development control and achieving goals when giving planning licenses. According to the Farrell Review of Architecture plus Built Environment, a proactive planning system may be essential in making the transition from a reactive to a place-based strategy. Instead of focusing on short-term financial benefits, the administration must ensure that a clear standard is established for the quality and long-term viability of new development in England. To establish national, regional, and local priorities in a way that combines spatial and economic strategies for Britain, an effective, long-term framework that is both clear and coordinated is needed. To create a comprehensive architecture policy, the administration should consult with business and the general public. This has to outline a long-term vision for fantastic locations that is connected to the economic strategy and explains how every level of government can advance this goal. Northwestern European nations have had considerable success implementing architecture policies, which lay out a long-term strategic strategy for enhancing quality through outstanding architecture and intelligent public spaces. In addition to outlining how architecture and urban design may support the achievement of these goals, a comprehensive policy can bring together the goals of other government agencies, including those related to housing, planning, infrastructure, economic development, and the environment. These policies, which are frequently high-level and non-prescriptive, set the agenda in the long-term interests of individuals, communities, and small enterprises by transcending political cycles. In order to develop our towns and cities, buildings and public spaces, communities, and companies, we need long-term governmental commitment that acknowledges the added value of design quality in creating sustainable and resilient places that people can be proud of. Consumer Trading Organization Limited will host additional concepts in the future.